let's do another tapping demonstration just to allow you to see how it's done and to begin to feel more comfortable with it. So this time we have Sarah, and Sarah, you have done tapping before.
Yes.
You have.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, and you've used it on your own.
Yes.
And kind of results you've had?
Well, I used it with you one time, and we went through something and sort of worked through an issue I was having, and I've used it a little bit since as well, yeah.
Okay, well, we did a radio program.
Yes.
Yes, okay. If I remember rightly, it was you were, I hope I'm up to speed with this, is it British champion foosball?
Yeah.
Yes, you're the champion.
Yeah.
But you'd lost it at that time, and then we did some work together.
Yes.
And we identified an issue.
Yeah.
And I believe you came champion again.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know whether it's anything to do with me, but okay, Sarah. So what would you like to work with?
Well, that time it was about the people pleasing, but this time I feel that I just have now and again I'll go through a phase where I'll just feel completely unmotivated, I guess, and maybe lazy. So I'm self-employed as well, so it can be quite easy for me to, for instance, not get out of bed in the morning and just decide that I don't want to work, and sometimes don't want to do anything. And it can happen. Just wake up one morning, I'll be feeling fine, I'll be feeling productive, happy with my life, my job, and then it just happens, and literally just out of nowhere it feels like sometimes. And last time, this is a phase that I've noticed to happen in my life, but last time it was really quite strong, and I experienced what I would describe as anxiety that I'd never had before, but just came out of nowhere, and sort of lying in bed, heart racing, and I didn't know why, and I didn't want to work, I didn't want to face anything really, and it only lasted a couple of days. So I guess I'm just struggling to keep the balance in my life, and if I lose my balance at times, I don't mind if that happens, but I'm beating myself up at the time. I'm really hating myself when I'm not being motivated and productive and enjoying life. So if I could just accept that would be fine, or maybe just get rid of that whole phase altogether.
All right, you mentioned, Sarah, there, you mentioned the word balance.
Yeah.
Can I look at that deeper?
Yeah.
Do you have any issues with balance or coordination of any kind? I know foosball, you have to be pretty on the button, but do you have any ear infections, or previously had ear infections, or anything to do with a sense of coordination?
No, I guess very occasionally I might feel a bit faint. So that does sort of happen, where the vision can go slightly, but it's never something I've really even thought too much about, because it happens so rarely.
How are you feeling now?
Fine.
All right, would you mind then, Sarah, if I asked you to do a little test just by standing?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, let's just, because what's happened here is that the word for me is, not balancing well. And what Sarah may well be doing, I don't know at this stage, she may be telling me that there's a problem with coordination and balance, and that can upset the nervous system and create anxiety. So let's just test that, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look after you, I'll make sure you're safe. So if you'd like to stand there, and if you just face forward, what I'd like you to do, Sarah, is to close your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And are you comfortable with where your feet are?
Yeah.
I'd like you, and I'm going to make sure that you do not fall over, I'd like you just to balance on one leg.
Okay.
How do you feel there?
A bit wobbly.
A bit wobbly, okay. Now the other one. That one's not so good, would it be fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I need to see actually, Sarah. You safe?
Yep.
Okay, if you can sit back down. And again, the word for me was a kind of not being balanced. And remember, we're constantly saying that no word is accidental. So that could be very significant. And you were less balanced when balancing on the left leg.
Yep.
So let's work on that just for a moment to see where we can go. So what I'd like you to do, Sarah, you're familiar with the tapping, so even though
Even though
I'm not feeling safe,
I'm not feeling safe,
because there's something going on
because there's something going on
in my inner ear.
in my inner ear.
I'm not sure what it is,
I'm not sure what it is,
but I'm now going to address it
but I'm now going to address it
and allow it to correct itself.
and allow it to correct itself.
Now again, because that's a long word construction, I'm only going to do the 1 instead of the 3. And now, Sarah, poor balance,
Poor balance,
poor sense of safety.
poor sense of safety.
It creates anxiety.
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 Poor balance.
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 And we'll do the fingers as well, Sarah. Poor balance.
Poor balance.
Don't feel safe.
Don't feel safe.
Poor balance.
Poor balance.
Poor balance.
Poor balance.
Poor balance.
Poor balance.
Now, Sarah, just take a breath again and just assess if you have anything happening up here at all.
Yeah, I've started thinking a lot more about in my life that I actually feel quite unsafe about.
Give us a few examples.
Well, I guess again, it's sort of being self-employed, there's always that insecurity in the business, and I'm also the living situation that I'm in actually is a little bit unstable, which only my flatmate's planning on moving out, so I have to find somewhere to live, basically, and that only came up the other day. But I'm actually wondering whether I felt that sort of lack of a base in my life, maybe.
Okay.
Before, yeah.
So you're even using the gestures of being unbalanced.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So let's work on that just for a moment and see where we can get with that. So you don't have to keep doing the karate chop, because once you've done the setup, you don't have to keep doing that. So I'd like you to start from this point. Off balance.
Off balance.
I don't know where I'm going.
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 I'm uncertain.
I'm uncertain.
It's not the first time.
It's not the first time.
I've felt uncertain for most of my life.
I felt uncertain for most of my life.
Now, I'll ask you a question there, Sarah. How true is that?
I feel like it's more. Yeah, no, actually, yeah, it's true. I was gonna say it's more within the last 5 or so years, but potentially, yeah.
Okay. All
It's
right.
true.
Don't feel safe.
Don't feel safe.
Poor balance.
Poor balance
In every area of my life.
in every area of my life.
I'm back here now, Sarah, because I want to just focus on the frontal cortex. Poor balance.
Poor balance.
And now back here, just to stimulate here, because I want to really hit the inner ear. I want to see what's happening in the gyro inside the ear. Poor balance.
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 Okay, Sarah, we'll do that test again and
Okay.
I'll look after you, so don't worry. So do the leg that you felt safest on first.
Okay.
Okay, now the other one. Okay, how do you feel on that?
Pretty balanced.
Okay, right. Okay, Sarah, that's good. So you felt that there was a difference there?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Sit down. That's because what's happening when we have anxiety and we feel unsafe, the brain is constantly monitoring where we are in space and time. So we have the sense receptors. So in terms of our physical body and our emotional well-being, what's happening here is it's constantly assessing where we are. Now, of course, you think about that in terms of the emotional words and structures that Sarah was using. That's what I was reading, that there's something going on here. And if I didn't address that first, then the other issues that we're going to follow through with would be more difficult, harder to pinpoint. So I've just checked to see what was going on here with Sarah. And does that make sense to you, Sarah, in terms of...
Yeah. Well, I thought that was quite incredible, actually, just how safe and balanced I did feel then. That's so different to
That's so
when you
different.
first did it. Yeah,
Well, good. So now we're getting a clearer insight. Mind, body, body, mind. And we have all these sensors around us. And our emotional state and how we feel. If we feel fear and anxiety, then that's going to impact on every area of our, not just our brain. We think sometimes too much about the brain, but it's the physical body as well. So that's what we're looking at here. So that's something now that you can do for yourself now, Sarah, from this point on. And you can do that little test. Now, when I'm working with more serious issues, I will do further tests. This is just a very simple test that anybody can do themselves. But do bear in mind that it's not unusual to have a little bit of insecurity, but it's the level of insecurity that you're feeling here. So if you're going all over the place, then there's something wrong. And for Sarah, it was very clear that one side was much better than the other. Now what we've done is we've balanced both sides. So now we can continue with the other issues and see if there's any underlying, perhaps even getting back now to a root cause. So we have to look at, did the root cause perhaps create the imbalance in here? Or did she have ear infections as a child? Is there any difficulty in terms of translation of what she receives from the ears, the sense of sound that goes into the prefrontal cortex to be understood clearly? So I'm looking for all those things all the time. Is there anything you'd like to ask, Sarah?
No.
Okay, that's good. So let's just remind everybody where we were, which was that you motivation, and you said you've had anxiety. That was the one as well that's important.
Yeah.
So again, you know, you're identifying that this could go back a long way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where?
I guess so.
And again, if it involves other people, don't name them, of course. But do you have any idea where this might go back to?
No. That's why I wanted to say that I feel like it was quite recent. This idea that my life is so unbalanced. I'm either extremely productive or I lose it straight away. I feel like is a learned behaviour from quite recent, because I'm quite good at sort of trying to look back and do this myself, but I just can't see anything.
Right.
From childhood.
Did you notice Sarah's gestures? I'm in control or I lose it. And again, it was the same side where she wasn't balanced.
Right.
She loses it over here. And that's the side she couldn't balance on.
Right.
Were you aware of that?
No, I'm not aware of what I'm doing.
Okay, we'll change that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'd like you to do now, Sarah, is to just tap, and I'd like you to maybe even, you might have some idea, you may not, but maybe you have to guess what the cause of this is.
Yeah.
So if you were to guess even.
Oh, I've just thought of something.
Go on.
Well, I got knocked off my bike when I was like 10 or 11, I think. Which doesn't sound like much, but I mean, I'm petrified of bikes, you know, I won't really go on them anymore, or anything to do with like wheels and balance, skateboards, roller skates. I've always hated them. But the being knocked off the bike thing, I think, did actually affect me, because I'm quite brave with doing things, extreme activities, but I won't go on a bike.
You won't go on a bike?
No.
And age 10, did you say?
10 or 11. Yeah.
10 or 11.
Yeah.
Okay. It may be too much for me to expect you to remember which way you fell.
It was. I felt like I wanted to say it was on the left end, but I don't know whether that.
Okay,
yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, I think it was.
It could have been the left.
Well, I think that it hit me and the bike was left there, but I fell off the bike that way.
Right, so you're trying to balance against where you got knocked.
Yeah.
So you're trying to constantly assess where you are.
Right.
And if you think of an experience which Sarah's prepared to accept is a relatively small experience, but at 10, 11 years old, that's significant. And what happens when we have a shock like that is within a fraction of a second, the body stores everything that it was processing at that time. It remembers the temperature. It remembers what you were smelling, even if you're not consciously aware of it. It remembers the sounds. It remembers the food in your body. It remembers absolutely everything. And that is charged. Think about that as a charge into your subconscious and into the cells. Now the cells have to know that information, as I've said before, and the nervous system has to know that information because it needs to keep you safe. And Sarah's had an experience that she put herself in, got on the bike, and something happened. So now her whole system has to know where it is that it might possibly be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's created a charge. Think of it in digital form just for a moment. Digital is a series of noughts and ones that is, can identify a particular command or sound. It doesn't matter what it is. And that information, think of it in terms of the electrical impulses that's in our whole system that's identified that fall and now is recreating the experience because Sarah wants to keep safe.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly double checking, not feeling safe on that side. So let's tap on that then,
Okay.
Sarah. Even though I was knocked off my bike, unless you can think of a word construction.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds.
Yeah, it's okay. Is it for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though I was knocked off my bike at 10:11,
Even though I was knocked off my bike at 10:11,
and I didn't realise the impact it's had on me,
and I didn't realise the impact it's had on me,
I can now release this
I can now release this
from every cell in my body.
from every cell in my body.
I can ask my nervous system
I can ask my nervous system
to go off alarm.
to go off alarm.
I'm learning to feel safe.
I'm learning to feel safe.
And take a nice breath at that one, Sarah, because when you were knocked off your bike, you would have remembered the breath you were taking. Okay, and that will change your brain state. So, knocked off my bike.
Knocked off my bike.
Keeps coming back to me.
Keeps coming back to me.
Not in my conscious mind,
Not in my conscious mind,
but in my subconscious mind.
but in my subconscious mind.
It's impacting on my balance.
It's impacting on my balance.
It was a terrible experience.
It was a terrible experience.
Terrible experience.
Terrible experience.
Knocked off my bike.
Knocked off my bike.
I can't go near bikes now.
I can't go near bikes now.
They create fear and anxiety in me.
They create fear and anxiety in me.
I'm suppressing those feelings.
I'm suppressing those feelings.
Who could possibly blame me?
Who could possibly blame me?
But now I'm choosing.
But now I'm choosing.
Release.
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 Now, because of that experience, I'm going to do the eye positions as well, because I want to see how Sarah's brain may have altered or maybe still holding on to something. So if we can just observe the eyes, and what I'll do, Sarah, just so as everybody can see, I will ask you to look ahead because I can still see you.
Okay.
What's there, Sarah?
I don't know, it's quite harder to look over there. I can almost feel like a block.
A block.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to use that information. There's a block. Say those words, Sarah. There's a block. There's a
There's a block.
block. There's a 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 block.
There's a block.
That's it.
There's a block. There's a block.
That's where I'm going. Say those words.
That's where I'm going.
That's where I'm going.
That's where I'm going.
I've been knocked sideways.
I've been knocked sideways.
I've been knocked sideways.
I've been knocked sideways.
It's difficult for me to look there
It's difficult for me to look there
because when I get there,
because when I get there,
it hurts.
it hurts.
hurts.
It hurts.
Take a nice breath now, Sarah.
I feel a bit unbalanced.
Okay, that's fine, that's okay. Because you're going through the process. But there's an emotion there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we'll just give it a few moments just to pass through. And what you'll often find is as people make those shifts, make the changes, you'll find that the skin tone changes. And I don't know whether anybody can see, but the skin tone has changed. Can anybody here see them? And that's quite common, because you're changing the brain state, you're changing the visceral state, you're changing the tissue within the body. And that's what happens with this. And Sarah looks as if there's a kind of shine that I'm seeing in Sarah, but can anybody else see that? You can't see it, no? You don't have to, okay? But that often happens. Okay, Sarah, so how do you feel?
I felt like, just after that I felt a bit unbalanced again, and almost like, I didn't feel the anxiety, but I started remembering what it felt like. I wasn't feeling anxious or anything,
Yeah.
but I just, that's what when you said process those emotions,
Yeah.
I was just sort of letting them go, like experiencing them and letting them go, and just feel a bit,
So in all that time then, Sarah, it will be right to assume that you've never been on a push bike?
I have attempted it since, but I haven't got over that anxiety feeling. And it's only sort of on a park, and things like that where I'm fully safe. But
do you feel that you might be in a place now where you would be prepared to, or do we need to do a little bit more work?
I'm quite eager to see. I think I would feel better.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty brave then, isn't it? It's pretty good, because you are someone who's up for trying anything, aren't you?
Yeah.
But what I'm going to do is just to test, I'm just going to see where Sarah is on that. Okay, so I'd like you just to tap at that point between the eyebrows. Just very gently tap. And recreate the memory, the experience as best you can. Can you see yourself falling?
Yeah, and what stands out a lot is just the going home, and I remember that whole process of just feeling so fragile after it had all happened, just feeling so fragile and upset and unsafe, and that stands out almost as much as the actual fall, the feeling afterwards.
Okay, so that could be significant as well.
Yeah.
So what I'd like you to do then, Sarah, is from here, this point. I'm only choosing these points purely to give every part of the body an opportunity to heal. So it's another area to tap on. So fragile, wasn't it? Fragile. Connect with your body and feel what fragile means to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely a word that has sort of triggered something in the body. Yeah.
And what I'm going to take you through here, Sarah, is that you're a person who'll try anything. But underpinning that and underlying it is always having a sense of being fragile. So how do you feel things could be for you if you got rid of that sense of being fragile?
I think I'd be a lot more confident. I think my confidence can hold me back sometimes, doing things I want to do.
Doing things you want to do. And could that be leading to the points where you go down into this place where you can't do anything?
Yeah, I think the confidence and this unmotivated stage that are definitely related.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right then, Sarah, what we'll do is let's just now go back to the eye, and again I'll do it in that direction so everybody can see. If you look straight ahead, Sarah, that's it, just follow my finger. How does the eye movement feel to you?
It hasn't got the same discomfort. It's there a little bit.
It is a little
Yeah,
bit, Sarah.
yeah.
Yeah, there is definitely a little bit there. Okay, I'm going to say some words, Sarah, and just tell me if they're relevant. I have a fear.
I have a fear
of falling down.
of falling down.
I have a fear
I have a fear
of falling down
of falling down
in every area of my life.
in every area of my life.
If I don't take tasks on,
If I don't take tasks on,
especially ones that challenge me,
especially ones that challenge me,
I can't possibly fall down.
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 Pause there for a moment, Sarah. Take a nice breath. In a sense that there's lots of things you thought of doing but haven't done them, haven't attempted them because you feel you might fail.
Yeah, but I didn't know what was stopping me. But I think it's this whole lack of, I thought I was lazy and I was beating myself up for being lazy, but I think it's the lack of confidence, the fear of falling, fear of failing, and
Yeah, absolutely. So if you don't take those things on, you can't possibly fail.
yeah,
So that's what happens to us. Well, we make excuses and generate patterns of behaviour that won't put you in a position where if you try something and it fails, then you can't possibly fail. So Sarah, is there anything, again, just connect with the feelings just for a moment?
I feel a lot calmer now. Yeah, I feel a lot clearer as well.
Suppose I was to say to you that in the next 48 hours, something is going to really spring for you. It's going to give you new enlightenment, because that's what's going to happen. And the reason, it's not guessing, it's just that I'm observing where Sarah's going inside her head, inside her brain, and I can see her looking. So I know that there's going to be a new experience for you that's going to allow you to move forward.
Yeah.
So Sarah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You can stay there just for a moment.